it seems like everything I did in the first year that I came out with my first album is like a blur, because everything happened so fast for me, and I never had the chance to sit down and go, wow, this is actually happening. I just like went straight ahead. So it was almost like when I did the Grammys the first year and I won, it was like, I don't even remember. I was so tired, you know,
Right.
I couldn't sleep. I was so nervous.
Well, we have the videotape, you know, anytime you want.
Well, I don't know.
Your life is on video. We have it.
I moved into Manhattan like the day after I graduated high school, and with a couple of friends, and we all kind of had mattresses on the floor and waitressed and did whatever we were aspiring towards, you know, trying to be an actress or a singer or whatever, whenever we could. And eventually I got a job as a background singer for Brenda K. Starr, who was really, really supportive of me and always trying to help me, and she's a great person. I really owe a lot to her. She brought me to a party for the opening of a record label, and she handed my tape to the head of Sony.
So how is this new album different from the last one? What can we expect to hear?
I think it's a little bit more raw production-wise. I did co-produce every track. I worked with CNC Music Factory, Robert Clavillis and David Cole of CNC on all the up-tempos, 4 up-tempos, and I did 6 ballads. I co-produced with Walter Afanasieff, and I'm excited about it. I think it's a lot more real. It's a lot more me.
Did success turn out the way you expected it to be?
I don't know. That's really hard to say. I mean, everything that's happened to me is just incredible, and you know, I couldn't ask for it to have happened sooner or better or in any way. I love writing and I love being in the studio and working. It's not like they have to like force me, get me in the studio, you know, do this album. That's all I do. And so, you know, I feel like it's so much part of me that, you know, I have to do it. It was really interesting also to write the new Christmas songs that I wrote, because you're coming from like a totally different standpoint than when you're writing just a regular song on a regular studio album. And I actually did the video for the videos before I wrote the originals. When I'm just in another situation, whenever I'm doing business or whatever I'm doing that's not music related, I always have music going through my mind. I'm always thinking of a song, I'm always humming something to myself. So I guess that's sort of the daydream thing. It's like, you know, no matter what I'm doing, if it's boring me, I'll be thinking of song ideas or something and pretending to be interested, or, you know, in the other thing, because that's just, my manager's laughing over there because he knows.
You're already singing and producing. Why bother directing your own videos? Don't you have enough work?
I do have enough work, and it's a lot more work to direct it than to just be in it and, you know, come out when they're ready for you to do the shot. But it's just that I've always had concepts for videos, and then I work with a director, and it's never exactly how I want it to be, or there'll be shots where I'm not crazy about, or whatever. So after doing it so many times, I just figured I might as well try it, and for no other reason, you know, than the fact that I wanted to get my vision across more.
Did you name the record Butterfly because of some sort of personal metamorphosis that you went through during recording it?
I've definitely gone through a lot of personal changes and a lot of professional changes throughout the course of the process of recording this album, much more so than on any other record that I've done, except for maybe the first record, but that was a long time ago, and that was taking something that had only been demos and making it into, suddenly I was out there in the world. And I don't know, I feel really, really close to this record. It's like I go to sleep with it, I wake up with it, you know. I've gone through so many changes that have gone into the music. And the other day I woke up and I was like, I can't believe I'm actually putting this record out. This is the first time in so long that it's almost gonna feel like some sort of a loss to put this out, because it's really so much of a part of me. My fans are definitely the most important ingredient in my success equation, because they really make me, and that's why when I see people, whatever country I'm in the world, and I see fans wherever I am, whatever time of day it is, whatever's going on, and they approach me and they ask me for autographs or they ask me for things, I always try to be accommodating. I had already pretty much written Heartbreaker, and Clue and I and everybody were really excited about it. DJ Clue and Duro, who we co-produced the record together. And then Jay-Z got on it, and we were just like, we have to put this out. This album was all about sequencing, and I did it quicker than any album I've ever done. I did it in like literally 3 months and locked myself in a studio. On this album, I've got, again, a lot of my upper register, which it was a conscious decision to not do so much of it because I kind of got ragged on by some critics about it. But you know, it's part of my voice, and my fans like it, and so I don't care what, I care what my fans like and what I like. I think that I've grown up a lot since I put out my first record. I think a lot of things about me are the same, but I think what's happened is I've grown into my independence and my creative and artistic freedom, so my ability to be more specific about certain subjects in songs, to be more connected emotionally to what I'm talking about, is there. You know, I mean, a lot of the songs from my first album were written when I was in high school, you know, so I mean, it's like your perspective changes. Some perspectives are the same, but some things are different. I think, yeah, a lot of people have grown up with those songs, and so have I. Through the Rain was the first song I wrote for this album. And I really didn't write it for the album, I wrote it for myself. But it's also one of those things where I've always tried to insert positivity into my songs wherever I can to inspire other people who go through stuff. I mean, the stuff they talked about in the tabloids and the things that were so overly exaggerated, you know, that's one aspect. But I also went through a lot of personal stuff, a lot of family stuff this year. You know, losing a parent is an intense thing for anybody. And so it's like, it's brought me to another place. And I just really feel like if you can, with your music, try to help other people, you know, with whatever they're going through, you know, that's always something I've tried to do. And I think this song is just a classic example of that type of thing. My nephew slash brother slash whatever, grandfather, Sean, we have one of those families, and he always calls me Mimi, so I think LA had heard him say that, and we were just talking, he's like, oh, that's a cute nickname, and I was like, yeah, and I was just thinking it'd be pretty cool to use Mimi in the title somehow, so I was thinking like the adventures of, I thought of like a whole bunch of different things, and then I thought the emancipation would be kind of cool because it is kind of like this album that, to me, the spirit of it is very kind of free and fun and lighthearted, and when there is like a deeper moment, it's more of a spiritual moment, like on Fly Like a Bird or, you know, songs like that. When I got the news 2 weeks ago that We Belong Together became my 16th #1 single, I was like, you know, how do you even express that feeling? It was just, I never knew that that song could be as big as like some of the songs that I made, you know, whatever, Hero or those songs, you know what I mean? It's actually bigger than those songs, so it's just a godsend and a blessing. Shake It Off is another song that I wrote with Jermaine, and it's actually one of my favorite songs on the record because sometimes, you know, I think people can relate to that song, like no matter what kind of thing they have to shake off, be it a bad day, you know, guy, you know, a girl, whatever it is, something in your life that you just have to like let go. I feel like timing is really everything in a lot of ways. I do feel like I had to go through some struggles and learn some lessons and kind of be publicly stepped on in order to be embraced in a lot of ways, because that's just human nature. But aside from that, because if it were me, like if I had to rate my own stuff, I definitely still love Butterfly as an album. I think, not to be like, whoa, I'm so ahead of my time, but perhaps it was a little ahead of its time because songs like Breakdown and songs like, even like, I did a duet with Drew Hill on that record of a remake of The Beautiful Ones, and Baby Doll was still one of my favorites. I was playing it the other day when I was getting ready, and Tasha, who was doing my hair, said, oh, is this something new you putting this out? I'm like, no, this is from Butterfly, but they never released it. So it's like a lot of those songs that to me are like my favorite little gems never got put out. Even like on an album as big as Daydream, I was still under the control of a huge conglomerate that didn't want me to go too urban. So even after 3 huge hits, Fantasy, which the pop people were only allowed to know it was a pop song. They didn't know the ODB version. Now everybody knows that because, you know.
The version.
Right, but to the
Suits, that wasn't the version. So, you know, and then One Sweet Day and then Always Remember Baby, still they made me put out like a real straightforward ballad, and I wrote it. I know how to do that, you know, afterwards. But I wanted a song called Underneath the Stars, which to me is some of my best writing lyrically, melodically, and in every way, and it was never released. So, you know, I think that this time around, the great thing is the songs that I love were allowed to be released.
You happy about this record? And how does it compare a couple months into this record as compared to the Mimi record?
Well, you know what? This is like an interesting record because obviously Touch My Body came out and it was like this, I mean, I don't know. L.A. Reid and I had really kind of like belabored and really worked hard to figure out what was the first single. Then we didn't really know what to do. And we went with Bye Bye as the second single, in a way more of like for the fans and for people who needed to hear that song. To me, this album is so diverse because there are songs where you actually literally are laughing out loud at certain lyrics. And then there are songs where they make me cry. They're from, it's like I feel like I wrote them when I was a little girl and going through difficult times. I love having the ability to make music that hopefully my fans will love as representative of where I'm at. And then if I feel like delving into another world, always keeping the consistent thread, me as the writer, producer, collaborator with whomever. When I was little, all I did is think about the future. Like when I was growing up, it was like, one day I'm gonna be a star and I'm gonna have this and that and I'm not gonna have this, I'm not gonna drive around in a junky car and I'm not gonna whatever, you know, deal with the problems that I deal with and I'll be accepted and loved and yay. You know what I mean? But ultimately, you have to love yourself and get to that point where whatever happens, you're cool with that. But I was so driven as a child that, I mean, now I don't really think ahead down the road because I have already accomplished my goal.